The Krillian Empire had sent their most decorated admiral, Vorith the Unyielding, to accept humanity's surrender. It was supposed to be a formality, a symbolic gesture to welcome the newest species into the fold as a tributary state. After all, the humans had only been in space for a few centuries, while the Krillian Armada had conquered worlds for millennia. Admiral Vorith stood on the bridge of the Eternal Dominion, a dreadnought so massive it cast shadows across entire moons. Around him, 300 warships maintained formation, their weapons arrays gleaming like predatory teeth in the starlight. They had positioned themselves at the edge of humanity's home system, just beyond Jupiter's orbit, as a show of overwhelming force. The human delegation should arrive within the hour, his tactical officer reported, mandibles clicking with barely concealed amusement. Our sensors detect a single vessel approaching from the inner system. One ship? Vorith's crest flared with satisfaction. They understand their position, at least. Bring up the visual feed when they enter weapons range. The bridge crew went about their duties with practiced efficiency. This was routine for them, another primitive species, another bloodless victory. The Krillian Empire had perfected the art of intimidation. Show enough firepower, and most civilizations simply bent the knee. The few that didn't, well, those lessons were written in the ashes of dead worlds. 40 minutes later, the sensor officer's mandibles froze mid-click. Admiral, we have visual on the approaching vessel. The main viewscreen flickered to life, and a collective silence fell across the bridge. The ship that emerged from Earth's inner system was unlike anything in the Krillian database. It moved with an eerie grace, its hull a seamless blend of midnight black and stormcloud gray that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. The vessel was smaller than Vorith had expected, roughly frigate class by Krillian standards, but something about its design set his combat instincts screaming. That's not a diplomatic shuttle, his weapons officer whispered. Obviously not, Vorith snapped, though uncertainty crept into his voice. Scan it. Full spectral analysis. I want to know what we're dealing with. The sensor officer worked his console frantically, then looked up with visible confusion. Admiral, the scans are inconclusive. The hull material is absorbing or deflecting 97% of our sensor beams. What little data we're getting makes no sense. The power readings are off the scale, but the ship's size doesn't support that level of output. Off the scale how? Sir, if these readings are accurate, that single vessel is generating more power than our entire fleet combined. A nervous ripple passed through the bridge crew. Vorith's crest flattened against his skull, a biological response to threat that he couldn't fully control. That's impossible. Check your instruments. Already done. Sir. 3 times. The readings are consistent. The human ship continued its approach, neither accelerating nor decelerating, maintaining a steady velocity that spoke of absolute confidence. As it drew closer, details became visible. The vessel bristled with weapon ports, far more than should fit on a ship that size. Strange protrusions dotted its hull, their purpose unknown but undeniably menacing. Incoming transmission from the human vessel, communications reported. On screen. The viewscreen split, and a human appeared. She was younger than Vorith expected, with short dark hair and eyes that held an unsettling calm. She wore a black uniform devoid of decoration except for a single silver insignia on her collar, a stylized earth surrounded by stars. I am Captain Elena Vasquez of the UENS Retribution, she said, her voice steady and clear. You requested Earth's presence at these coordinates. We are here. Vorith drew himself to full height, determined to maintain control of the situation. I am Admiral Vorith of the Krillian Empire. I was told to expect a diplomatic delegation, not a warship. A ghost of a smile touched the captain's lips. You are at the edge of our home system with 300 warships, Admiral. Did you truly expect us to send a shuttle full of diplomats? We are here to discuss the terms of Earth's integration into the Empire, Vorith replied stiffly. Your military posturing is unnecessary and inadvisable. Integration? Captain Vasquez's expression hardened. Is that what you call it? Your empire has sent this fleet to intimidate us into submission. You've done this to 17 other species in the last century alone. We know your playbook, Admiral. Voritha's crest rose in irritation. You are outnumbered 300 to 1. Your defiance is meaningless. Is it? The captain leaned forward slightly. Tell me, Admiral, have you ever wondered why humanity developed faster than light travel independently? Why we went from chemical rockets to quantum drives in just 2 centuries? Stolen technology, Vorith replied dismissively. Or blind luck? It matters little. Neither, actually. We developed it because we needed it. Because we looked at the galaxy and realized we would never survive if we remained weak. Captain Vasquez's eyes seemed to glow with an inner fire. Admiral, you're looking at the UENS Retribution, and yes, we named her that deliberately. She's not a diplomatic shuttle. She's not even a standard warship. Then what is she? Vorith demanded, though part of him didn't want to know the answer. She's a Titan-class dreadnought killer. Humanity's response to empires like yours. The captain's smile was sharp enough to cut steel. And she's not alone. The sensor board erupted in warning klaxons. The tactical officer's voice cracked with panic. Admiral. Multiple contacts emerging from stealth. They were there the whole time, we never saw them. The view screen shifted to show the tactical display, and Vorith felt his primary heart stutter. Around the Krillian fleet, space itself seemed to tear open as 12 more ships materialized from nowhere. Each one was identical to the Retribution, their dark hulls now visible as they powered up weapons systems. Stealth technology that advanced shouldn't exist, Vorith breathed. It didn't, Captain Vasquez replied. Until we built it. You see, Admiral, humanity has a unique perspective on warfare. We've been fighting each other for thousands of years. We know every trick, every strategy, every way to kill efficiently and effectively. When we finally stopped fighting amongst ourselves and looked outward, we brought all that knowledge with us. You're bluffing. 13 ships against 300. Each of our ships can engage 30 of yours simultaneously and win, the captain interrupted. We've run the simulations based on captured Krillian technology. Your shields can't stop our plasma lances. Your armor can't withstand our kinetic penetrators. Your point defense systems are 3 generations behind ours. And most importantly, Admiral. She paused, letting the weight of her next words sink in. You still think in terms of traditional naval warfare. We don't. As if on cue, the Retribution rippled with energy. Panels along its hull slid open, revealing weapon systems that made Voritha's blood run cold. He recognized some of them from classified reports, weapons that had been banned by galactic convention for centuries because they were too destructive, too cruel. This is your one chance, Captain Vasquez said, her voice cutting through the chaos on the bridge. Turn your fleet around and leave this system. Report back to your empire that humanity is not interested in integration, submission, or conquest. Tell them that if they want Earth, they'll have to burn for it, and we'll make sure they burn first. Voritha's tactical mind raced through scenarios. A frontal assault would be suicide, even he could see that now. These human ships were designed specifically to counter numerical superiority. But retreat? The Empire would see it as weakness, cowardice. And if I refuse, he asked, buying time to think. Then we demonstrate why the Retribution earned her name, Captain Vasquez replied coldly. Admiral, I've studied your career. You're known as the Unyielding because you never surrender, never retreat. I respect that. But I need you to understand something, humanity didn't come to the stars looking for a fair fight. We came looking to survive. And we will do whatever it takes to ensure our survival. The bridge fell silent except for the hum of systems and the rapid breathing of the crew. Vorith stared at the tactical display, at the 13 human ships that had somehow outmaneuvered his entire fleet, at the weapon signatures that promised devastation on a scale he'd never witnessed. He thought of the 17 species the Empire had conquered, the hundreds of worlds brought under Krillian rule. He thought of his legacy, his reputation, his honor. Then he thought of his crew, the thousands of Krillians serving aboard his fleet, and the millions more back home who depended on his wisdom. Helm, he said quietly, his crest lowering in what his species recognized as acknowledgement of a superior opponent. Begin withdrawal. Full retreat to the outer system, then jump to hyperspace. Admiral, his first officer questioned, mandibles spreading in shock. We were given incomplete intelligence, Vorith said, forcing steel into his voice. The humans are not what we were told. I will not waste Krillian lives on faulty assumptions. He turned back to the viewscreen, meeting Captain Vasquez's gaze. Today, Captain, you have made your point. But know this, the Empire does not forget. Neither does humanity, she replied. Safe travels, Admiral. And do give your superiors our regards. As the Krillian fleet began its ponderous turn, Vorith allowed himself one last look at the Retribution and her sister ships. They hung in space like sharks circling prey, patient and deadly. The Empire had expected a shuttle, a symbolic surrender, an easy victory. Instead, they had encountered humanity's true face and learned that Earth's most powerful warships were more than machines of war. They were promises, written in steel and fire, that humanity would never kneel.